The purpose of this presentation is to demonstrate how to download text files, datasets into Excel and then upload into SPSS for analyses. I've just emailed this site to you, an international journal on the Teaching and Learning of Statistics, JSE Data Archive link. The link has a whole bunch of data sets. In blue, you will see the data set as a text file. If you click on it, you get something like this. Go back, you click on the next one. These are what's called fixed width separated variables. There are also variables that may be separated by commas. This is a fixed width one as well. This one, and I need to go back to click on the data set. This one is a comma delimited file. So they are slightly different, but to work with them is actually pretty easy and pretty simple and straightforward. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this data by selecting Control-All and then copy, and I will save this onto a notepad as a text file. So this is my notepad. Now I can actually click on Control-V and I have saved the data into my notepad as soon as I click on Save As, and I will select, for the purposes of this presentation, the desktop, and I'm going to call this AAUP, or A, whatever that might have been, but AAUP is good enough for me today. So I'm going to save. I'm going to close this up. I will open an Excel, a new workbook, and I will import into Excel the text file that's saved on my notepad on the desktop. Open, and here I'm going to click on not Excel files but text files. So look for text files and I select desktop, scroll down, and here's AAUP. Double click on this. I know that this is a comma delimited file, as I already saw it. Click on Next. Indicate that a comma is delimiting. As soon as you do so, notice how variable breaks populate in your data set. Click on Next and simply Finish. As you can see, you have now populated what used to be a mess of numbers separated by commas into a very nicely arranged data set on Excel, which can now be imported to SPSS. Now, an important element of this is that we don't know what the name of the variables are, so AAUP.txt provides you the name of the variables. This is a federal ID, this is a college name, state, type. So if I go back to AAUP, I can add a row and say ID, name, state, type, and then I would continue throughout populating according to the legend that has been provided by the data set. Average salary of full professors, associate professors, and so forth, all the way down. And minimize, go back to this. If I have the names for all the other files, I'd be ready to save this and upload it to SPSS for analyses. Now, you might find a few things tricky if you're working with this data. If you're working with states and you're interested only in seeing the state of Texas versus every other state on your t-test on one of these measures, let's say that this was salary. And for the purpose of this presentation, I will delete everything else. So now we're looking at the salary of universities, and each one of these represents a different state, but I'm only interested in the ones on Texas. I'm going to create a filter on this. Click Filter and select only the state of Texas, and I will give it a code, or I will recode the state of Texas. Instead of Texas, I'm going to call it Texas 1. because this will be my grouping variable for my t-test that I'm about to run in just a little bit. Now I'm going to select everything except for 1, which is Texas, okay, and I will call everything else 0. I will pull this down. Zero. Now we have a total of 4 variables. I'm going to unfilter. 1 is the ID, 1 is the name of the university, 1 is the state, which this university is either Texas or other, the type of institution, and the salary. So type of institution is also broken down to a strange setup: 2B, 1, 2A. So we're going to assume that 1 is the highest level of research, 2A is the second level of research, and 2B is the third level of research. So universities by the Carnegie classification are classified into high research, medium, and no research expectations. So I'm going to put the filter back on, and I'm going to click on this and select everything that is a 1, Roman numeral 1, and turn it into a regular 1 number. If not, this will transfer into SPSS as a categorical variable or as a string variable. I'm going to take everything as a 2A now and call it a number 2. Pull that down. And then for the last one, I will actually, on the last one, select 2B, and this is an error, 7B. Click OK. And 3, pull that down. And now you have that broken down by type. Unfilter. Now you're ready to import this into SPSS. Go ahead and save this. Save it on my desktop as an AAUP. Yes. Yes. And you can open up SPSS file, open data from my desktop or from your USB. Select Excel file, and that was actually saved as a text file. Cancel, AAUP, save as, Excel. Great to make a mistake on the demonstration, but I'm not going to go back on this one as I've started a few times already. So save, and now from SPSS, open data from your desktop, in my case, or from your USB, and it's an Excel file. So AAUP now appears here, and for some reason I can't. Maybe I need to close this. Okay, here it goes. The last attempt. File, open, data. This has been a productive exercise. Excel, AAUP, OK. Now I've transferred ID, names, state, type, and salary for faculty within these universities. If I wanted to run a t-test, analyze, compare means, independent sample t-test, I have state as a grouping variable, and I have salary, which is actually transferred in as a string variable, so I need to cancel. Click on salary and convert this into a numeric variable, so we'll interpret it as dollars. So now I'm ready to analyze, compare means, independent sample t-test, my state, which is divided into I'm from Texas or not, continue, and we can now bring in the salary. It's actually a continuous variable. I didn't change this, but it's not going to affect the outcome, and click on OK. And then we can look at the independent samples t-test to determine whether there's a statistically significant difference for that salary on these two groups. The Levine's test indicates that there is no violation of the homogeneity of variance. The t statistic is already small. The degrees of freedom are huge. I can see that this is not significant at the 0.05 level, as 0.99 is much larger than 0.05. We see that the mean difference actually crosses the zero, so there's a good chance that this t-test right here, this value of this value right here, may, or the mean of the, I should say not of the t-statistic, but the mean of this sample, like of the difference between the groups, crosses zero. And that would be it for this presentation.